royalty.
I can feel you.
Recognize royalty.
I can see you.
Recognize royalty.
Now I recognize
royalty.
Royal to these eyes.
Royalty.
I can see you.
Recognize royalty.
I can love
Recognize royalty.
Now I
recognize it. I recognize passion. Never just the man with the title in his hand, with the vital in his hand, with the Bible in his hand. You never just the man with the scepter in demand, with the lecture in the stand, with the vector and the candle. Can you understand the grand from the texture of the hand? Hard at work, are you hard at work? Working with the man, don't kiss the ring of royalty. Crown him king, just a thing, letting loyalty ring. Bring frankincense and myrrh and other things. As gold already blings from the eyes that prizes no sins. Recognize the king's overruling commandments with the Trinity and the power it brings. When you recognize royalty, I feel it. Yeah, I see it. I recognize now. Royalty. I see it. Now I'm in love now. I recognize your passion. Recognize royalty. Sunrise royally. Sitting on top of the world. I'm five morally. Status of a king for surely. Morally, we popped on things till we stop the impurity. We popped them just for recognition. Listen to the missionary on a mission with the visionary vision. Do you recognize intuition? I reel in men when I went out fishing. I'll tell you why they rocked the boat. Cause they didn't understand what the prophet wrote. What's the conniption? To choose the Jews' crucifixion and refuse recognition at son child's christening in the mix of some. Insist they fix the system from malarkey back to my monarchy. Yeah, back above me. Don't soil my purple and blue, and I will recognize your royalty too.
I can feel you.
I feel it.
I can see you.
I can see it. I recognize now.
Royal to these eyes.
Your royalty.
I can see you.
I see it.
I can love again.
And I'm in love now. I recognize your passion.
Royalty.
Royalty. Recognize the king's overruling commandments with the Trinity and the power it brings. When you recognize royalty, I feel it. Yeah, I see it. I recognize now. Royalty. I see it. Now I'm in love now. I recognize your passion. Recognize royalty, sunrise royally. Sitting on top of the world, I vibe morally. Status of a king for surely. Morally, we pop dumb things till we stop the impurity. We pop them just for recognition. Listen to the missionary on a mission with the visionary vision. Do you recognize intuition? I reel in men when I went out fishing. I'll tell you why they rocked the boat. Cause they didn't understand what the prophet wrote. What's the conniption? Choose the Jews' crucifixion and refuse recognition at Sunchild's christening. In the mix, I'm in some. Insist they fix the system from malarkey back to my monarchy. Yeah, back above me. Don't soil my purple and blue, and I will recognize your royalty too.
I can feel you.
I feel it.
I can see you.
I can see it.
Now I
recognize now.
Royalty's eyes.
Your royalty.
I can see you.
I see it.
I can love again.
And I'm in love now.
Now
I recognize your passion.
Royalty.
Royalty.
Peace, y'all. How I'm looking? What's goody? Can y'all hear me? Peace, Cuban. Can you hear me? It's my first real test drive. So I'm trying to see if y'all can hear me. What it do, Sunchild? Can you hear me out there? All right, that's what it is. Yeah, man, I'm dropping this new video today, so I just wanted to have a grand, you know what I mean, opening, a grand splash, the brand new video. What what FBA owes the Tether. I'm cheating a little bit. It's not really brand new, you know what I mean? It's a remix. It's a remix version. I think y'all will like it. But yeah, I want to check this out. You know what I mean? I'm going to be going live a lot more often. I'm trying to, you know what I mean, promote the channel, get some views up. You know what I mean? So yeah, without any further ado, if anybody wants the link, you know what I mean, if you hear something that said that sparks your interest, you know, just ask for the link and I'll drop the link. I'll only drop a link if someone asks for it. If I miss someone asking for it, holla at your boy. You heard? So yeah, man, it's the FBA Tether Wars. We going to war, y'all. We going to war. Straight up. We're ready for them. You know what I mean? We're ready for them. So here we go. So I'm dropping this, like I said, I remixed this video because I think it has some important points in there. And then I tried to add some other points that I thought were important to make. Y'all may or may not agree with me. But you know what I mean? What's happening, everyone? Let's see. Again, I am exploring as we go. I'm trying to see what I can see. Yeah, that's what it is. So, you know, this is the new video right here. There are going to be a lot more videos in this FBA versus Tether series. So, you know, this is kind of like part one. This is a remake of the FBA versus Tether War video. Um, and again, there's going to be a lot more in this series. So I hope y'all like it. I hope y'all like what I added to it. Again, if anyone wants to chat, holler at me. Let me know. I'll drop a link. We'll pause the video, drop a link, and keep it moving. You're all right, y'all. What's happening, everyone? Yeah, man. I just felt the urge to go live today. It's New Year's Eve. Wanted to ring in the new year by declaring war.
I'm a war president. I make decisions here in the Oval Office, inform policy matters with war on my mind.
We have a rocket launcher. Them have a rocket. We have a rocket. We have a rocket. The rocket launcher. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is coming. They had it coming. What? Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting on the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing, storming Norman's armies coming to Saddam 'em. Gomorrah and Saddam 'em. Show 'em who's royal. What will we take oil from 'em? Yup, we're gonna dumb 'em. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb 'em. Release Martin Lockheed on them. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on them. Yup, we're gonna run them. Nagasaki son them. Atomically bomb them. And take Saki from them. Yup, we're gonna dun them. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. Radical Islam, a master ass. You can feel us coming. We're suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? The bombing ship to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip with straight bombing. Bombing like Israeli 7 days a week. Israeli do we keep Saturday holy enough to not bombing. World War III on them, war games, push pawns on them to die, while the knights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs to how battle on the Prussian bomb them. Embalm them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN for the dead coverage of me bombing. A star-spangled harmony in the peace. We'll have peace after I'm done bombing. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We have a rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. Whoa. We have a rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We have a rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket. Whoa. We have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket, the rocket launcher. We are at war, we are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war, we are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war, we are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war, we are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war, and I got the scar to show. Hey, look, y'all, it's psychological like apocalypse, y'all. It's the rise and the fall of man. It was orchestrated by his own hand, and damn, time to build up Noah's Ark again to withstand the fire next time we burn the land. And my rocket launcher goes bang, and just a few years ago, you was my man. And we shot Russians together. Now discussions are just like whatever, yeah, whatever. Cause we could declare war is over, but still keep bringing home more dead soldiers. When peace is wartime, ceases our kind to live on this planet. Just one hot planet in space, with intimations of a human race at war with itself, that costed itself when. Yeah, so you know, we are at war. It's the FBA Tether war. There's a lot going on in these YouTube streets. And you know, the start of the new year, I think it's a good time for me to put my voice out there.
and just, you know what I mean, give my opinion on a few things. And you know, the main thing that I think should be first understood is, you know, just exactly you know, what a tether is, and FBA, you know, FBA are foundational Black Americans who trace their lineage to you know, slavery in America, who have slave ancestors here in America and not anywhere else. Or at least I think they don't count anywhere else. And then a tether is anyone that's an immigrant, either from Africa or the Caribbean, mainly Black immigrants that come to America on what they feel is on their backs, on fight for, you know, freedom in America and their fight for civil rights. And they feel that immigrants come here and take advantage of those things. And not just that, you know, it would be okay if it was just that, but they feel that these immigrants that do come here, they're particularly speaking to immigrants who they feel once they're here and take advantage of what FBA has achieved for them, they then turn around and do things like not support FBA claims for reparations, which is, you know, and I think it can all be summarized around that. That's their main thing, or that's what a tether is someone who undermines the FBA's claim for reparations. People may, you know, disagree and say, you know, it's more than just reparations, but I think reparations is the foundation on which the whole FBA ideology is built around. So, you know, that's where we're at with it. And, you know, as a tether myself, because, you know, I do think that I fit that category. I am an immigrant who came here, became an American citizen, and I don't support the idea of reparations, whether it's here in America or in Jamaica. I just don't support that idea, but that's something for a different show, I think, or a different discussion. But, you know, yeah, but my concern, and the reason why I say that, you know, we are at war, you know, and this is intellectual war, if you will. But the reason that I say that is because I'm challenging this idea that it was on the backs of FBA that Caribbean and African immigrants got to come here. Yeah, and that we are just kind of leeching off of FBA's accomplishments here and then undermining them. So I'm absolutely going to challenge that. And the reason I'm challenging it is because, you know, I feel that they're not taking into consideration what FBA has gotten off of the backs of Caribbean and African immigrants, or Caribbean and African people in general. You know, what about what FBA owes to the Caribbean and to Africa? You know, we should try to remember that this is a give and take relationship. It's not one-way traffic with support. It's a two-way street. And it's very important that we remember that and not try to, you know, downplay each other's contribution. You know, and I think and that's where the discussion is going to be. And you know, and again, that's why I say we are at war.
We are at war with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war with ourselves. With ourselves. We're on the bomber. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is good. Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting all the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing. Storming, Norman's armies coming to Saddam. Gomorrah and Saddam, show 'em who's royal. Boy, will we take oil from them? Yup, we're gonna dumb them. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb them. Release Martin Lockheed on them. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on them. Yup, we're gonna run them. Nagasaki son them. Atomically bomb them. And take Saki from them. Yup, we're gonna dun them. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves, we are at war. We are at with ourselves, we are at war. We are at with ourselves, we are at war. We are at with ourselves, we're gonna bomb them. Radical Islam, a mass that ass. You can feel it's coming. We're suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing. Bombing like Israelis 7 days a week. Israeli do we keep Sabbath day holy enough to not bombing? World War III on them. War games. Push pawns on them to die while the knights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs. How battle on the crush and bomb them. Then bomb them. Then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN for the dead coverage of me bombing. A star-spangled harmony in the peace. We'll have peace after I'm done bombing. Them have a rocket. Hey. We have a rocket. What? We have a rocket. The rocket launcher. Them have a rocket. Hey. We have a rocket. Whoa. We have a rocket. The rocket launcher. Them have a rocket. Hey. We have a rocket. What? We have a rocket. The rocket launcher. Them have a rocket. Whoa. We have a rocket. Hey. We have a rocket. The rocket launcher. We are at war. We are at with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are at with ourselves.
Yeah, man. So, let's continue with this war with ourselves. So I asked, I did like some really intensive research for this. I went to ChatGPT, and the question asked was, did the Caribbean influence the abolitionist movement in America? Did the Caribbean influence the abolitionist movement in America? That's the question asked to ChatGPT, and I just want to go through what ChatGPT said, because I think it's really telling. So it says, yes, the Caribbean significantly influenced the abolitionist movement in America. Several factors connected to the Caribbean played a role in shaping American abolitionism. Number one, so let me just reiterate. It says the Caribbean significantly influenced America's abolition movement. And that's important. That it's not just a small role; it's a significant role that the Caribbean played in fighting against slavery. So here are the factors that it points to. It says, number one, revolts and resistance in the Caribbean. The Haitian Revolution from 1791 to 1804. The successful slave revolt in Saint Dominique, now Haiti, was a pivotal moment. It demonstrated that enslaved people could overthrow a brutal system, inspiring abolitionists and striking fear into slaveholders. Right, and let me read that again. So it's the Haitian Revolution, and it says it demonstrated that enslaved people could overthrow a brutal system. Right, it demonstrated that to them. That's what they looked to see that this can actually be done, and it inspired abolitionists and struck fear into slaveholders. And that's really important. Haitians' independence became a powerful symbol of freedom and resistance.
So what happened in Haiti was a symbol of freedom and resistance for slaves in America, for slaves and abolitionists in America. So that's one, the Haitian Revolution. Number two, other rebellions in Jamaica, Barbados, and other Caribbean colonies highlighted the brutality of slavery and the determination of the enslaved to resist oppression. So there were revolts and rebellions going on all over the Caribbean, which highlighted, which they say highlighted just the savagery and the brutality of slavery, which then spread into the Americas and into England and Europe. And that's where they started to see just how brutal slavery was, and which kind of triggered the abolition movement, if not strengthened it. Not just strengthened it, it may have even triggered it. The next piece spoken about is the British abolition and the Caribbean. So the first one are the revolts in the Caribbean, and then there are British abolition and the Caribbean. The British Empire, this is what ChatGPT says. It says the British Empire abolished slavery in 1833, largely due to abolitionist efforts supported by resistance in its Caribbean colonies. And, keep in mind, 1833, that's before 1865, which is when I believe slaves in America were emancipated, 1865. So that's decades before. So people in the Caribbean earned their freedom decades before slaves in the Americas. And their freedoms largely because of abolitionist efforts, which were supported by resistance in those Caribbean colonies. So there would be no abolition. The abolition movement would not have been successful had it not been for those resistance movements in the Caribbean, the rebellions that were going on. And it says this provided a model for American abolitionists and strengthened their arguments against slavery in the US. So it actually was the model that American abolitionists used to start their movement. What happened in the Caribbean was their model. And so, when FBA try to speak as if it's just them doing for immigrants, you really have to rethink that. The American abolitionists and the American rebels were looking at the Caribbean and copying what was going on to the Caribbean. So it can be stated that they got their urge to fight. The American abolitionists and the American slave rebels that led those rebellions got their urge to fight by looking to the Caribbean. And it was a great inspiration. So y'all took your inspiration from us, but for some reason, all y'all want to focus on is what the Caribbean is taking from y'all. You may want to look a little deeper into history to see really what our true connection is. It also goes on to say the emancipation of enslaved people in British colonies shows that ending slavery was economically and socially possible, countering pro-slavery claims in America. And that's really deep. You know what I'm saying? It says that what happened in those British colonies in the Caribbean showed that ending slavery was even possible, both economically and socially, right? And that's what was used to counter pro-slavery claims in America. Because in America, they were being taught that, rebellion wasn't possible at all. It was too much. You'll never win. But because of what happened in the Caribbean, that's when they even knew that this was even possible, or that's what made it known to them that this was possible. That's what strengthened that's what gave them the strength to say, we're going to do this and we're going to win. So that, FBA really needs to reconsider what they're talking about. It's not just a give thing here. You've gotten more from the Caribbean. This may be worth more than what you're talking about, and we may see that once we continue. But let's just continue. Next thing ChatGPT mentions is the Caribbean abolitionists and intellectual influence. It says Caribbean thinkers, writers, and activists contributed to the transatlantic abolitionist movement. Figures like Olada Equiano, I think he also went by Gustavo Bassa, who wrote about his experiences as an enslaved person, influenced public opinion on both sides of the Atlantic. And Equiano was from Nigeria. He was a Nigerian, and he was an abolitionist. And, he also was very influential among abolitionist movements in the Caribbean and in Europe, as well as America. And not just him, I think he was down with a crew called the Sons of Africa, and they played a great deal. And he lived, if I'm not mistaken, he may have lived even before the abolition movement in the Caribbean started. I think he was one of those ones that can be said to have influenced it a great deal as well. So, put some respect on Africans, on the Africans' name as well, because again, these are Nigerians that taught us how to be abolitionists and how to fight against these things. And if not taught us, at least they were there helping out and being very influential. It says the stories of Caribbean abolition and emancipation were widely circulated in American abolitionist literature. So what was going on in the Caribbean, and also with Equiano, was all over the literature that was being spread in America, in order to build up that abolition movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Caribbean literally influenced and really shook up the Americans to make them realize that this is possible. And again, like, just how important that is, I think just cannot be understated or overstated. Trade and communication. It's going to be just a couple more. The interconnectedness of the Atlantic world meant that ideas, news, and abolitionist materials traveled between the Caribbean and the US. This flow of information helped spread anti-slavery sentiment, which is just a reiteration of just saying, just information going back and forth is what was happening. This was not just FBA looking out for everybody doing it. There was actually a time when y'all were just taking seriously, but you don't hear us talking about, listen, we taught you how to fight. You know what I'm saying? We taught you how to fight against slavery. If it wasn't for what was going on in the Caribbean, you may still be enslaved. We taught you how to fight. And that's taking a lot more than whatever you claim that Caribbeans are taking from you. You may want to say thank you at some point, because again, we taught you how to fight against abolitionists. I'm sorry, not against abolitionists. We taught you how to be abolitionists. We taught you how to be rebellious. We taught you how to revolt. You look to us for those things. We taught you that it was possible to win. We taught you that. Caribbeans taught you that. So please, again, when you start downplaying and start thinking you're more important than anyone else, you really need to revisit history. American, also, just to continue with DPT, economic and social comparisons. American abolitionists often pointed to the Caribbean to argue that societies could transition away from slavery without total economic collapse, challenging the entrenched economic interest in the US. So again, abolitionists in the Caribbean pointed to the abolitionists in America pointed to the Caribbean to argue that societies could actually move away from slavery without economic collapse. They taught you, they showed you that. If it wasn't for that, you would probably still be enslaved. Say thank you, maybe. In these ways, the Caribbean served as both a practical and symbolic influence on the American abolitionist movement, right? That's the last statement that ChatGPT puts up. And what I want to point out is what it says, is that it served as both a practical and a symbolic influence. So this wasn't just symbolic, right? It wasn't just, oh, they looked to Haiti and Jamaica and Barbados. They looked at what was going on as a symbol and then decided that they could do. No, it was also, they had practical influence, which means that there were Caribbean people who were actually involved in those abolitionist movements, because freedom came in the Caribbean decades before in the Americas. And, you know, a lot of Caribbean people who were migrating to the Americas to also help with those abolitionist movements, migrating into Europe to help those abolitionist movements, writing in their newspapers. So again, this was actually hands-on. That's what it means when it says it's practical. It's not just symbolic. It's both a practical influence and symbolic. So, you know, we can have this fight. It's really a shame that we have to have this fight, but I think the fight is good for us to really remind each other of who we are and, you know, where we stand. Caribbean people are not just here leeching off of what you've gotten from fighting for what you fought for. Caribbean immigrants, Caribbean people taught you how to fight. They taught you that you could actually fight. They taught you that you could act. Then they taught you how to fight. They taught you that you could fight and win, taught you that you could fight, and then taught you how to fight, right? And not only did they teach you how to fight, they fought alongside you. And now it's, oh, you're just leeching? Really? That's interesting. You know, and it's the same with civil rights. I do want to talk about civil rights as well, the Caribbean influence on civil rights in America, because I also want to highlight that this was not just a one-way traffic where FBA was FBA doing stuff and getting stuff and allowing immigrants. It wasn't like that. And y'all really need to stop. It's a shame that y'all are doing this, but if it's a war you want, it's a war you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I'm gonna let this song ride out a little bit, and I'm gonna take a little break, and then I'm gonna come back and we'll talk a little bit of the rights. But you know, we're at war.
We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves. With ourselves. We're on a bomber. What children and women? What a lot of collateral damage in a moment is coming. They had it coming. What? Well, I've been summing it up, and I've been counting all the ways that I hate your guts. I'm number one in charge of big bombing. Boys, I've been bombing. Storming Normans, armies coming to Saddam 'em. Gomorrah and Saddam 'em. Show 'em who's royal. What will we take oil from them? Yup, we're gonna dumb 'em. Shoot your sons and televise the revolution so you know who is the one that's bombing you. Bomb 'em. Release Martin Lockheed on them. What beautiful ballistics. Try not to bleed on them. Yup, we're gonna run them. Nagasaki son them, atomically bomb them, and take Saki from them. Yup, we're gonna dun them. When in Rome, it's so common like rumors of war. I told you, we are at war. We are with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war. We are with ourselves, with ourselves. We're gonna bomb them. Radical Islamic, a mass that is calming, with suicidal bombing. Pardon, is that a rocket in your pocket, or you just happy to see us bombing? We're bombing shit to shift the ownership from Egypt to the Gaza Strip. We're straight bombing, bombing like Israeli 7 days a week. Israeli do we keep Saturday? They holy enough to not bombing. World War III on them, war games, push pawns on them to die, while the knights checkmate on them. Kingdom coming to an end. I'm drumming love battle songs of how battle on the crush and bomb them. Then bomb them, then again, bomb them again. And for the live commentary, tune to CNN. For the dead coverage of me bombing. A star spangled harmony in the peace. With our peace after I'm done bombing. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We are gonna rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. Whoa. We are gonna rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, hey, we have a rocket. What? We are gonna rocket, the rocket launcher. Them have a rocket, whoa, we have a rocket, hey, we are gonna rocket, the rocket launcher. We are at war, we are at with ourselves, with ourselves. We are at war, we are at with ourselves.
Yeah, we certainly are at war with ourselves. But you know, we didn't bring this war down. It ain't on Caribbean people. But if it's a war, you want a war. If I war, then I war. All right. So the next question I asked ChatGPT, did Caribbean people fight for civil rights in America? And I'm sure everybody knows the answer to that. I probably didn't even need to ask ChatGPT. But so again, the question was, did Caribbean people fight for civil rights in America? And the answer, yes. People of Caribbean descent have played a significant role in the fight for civil rights in America. A significant role. Significant. Their contributions span multiple eras and encompass activism, leadership, and cultural influence. Let me read that again. Their contributions span multiple eras and encompass activism, leadership, and cultural influence. Here are some key examples of Caribbean involvement in the U.S. civil rights struggle. 1. Early activists of Caribbean descent. Marcus Garvey, Jamaica. Garvey, born in Jamaica, founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association in 1914 and became a key figure in the Pan-Africanist and Black empowerment movements in America. You cannot talk Pan-Africanism without bringing up Marcus. It's impossible. You cannot do it. Any Pan-Africanist that does not have respect for Marcus is no true Pan-Africanist. Marcus Garvey, the symbol of Pan-Africanism, and he's a Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? It looks as if Jamaicans are to Pan-Africanism what Jamaicans are to hip hop. You see what I'm saying? There's a pattern going on there. You know what I'm saying? It's no coincidence. But back to Garvey, it says his Back to Africa philosophy influenced later civil rights leaders, including Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. You know, and Malcolm and Martin would have to be of FBA. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of which side of the FBA coin you're looking at, whether you're talking of the Black Power side of FBA or the civil rights and integrationist side of FBA, Malcolm and Martin are your standards, and they were influenced by Marcus. His philosophy is what it says helped to influence them. You know, Cyril Briggs, another Caribbean from Nevis, founder of the African Blood Brotherhood, a radical organization in the early 20th century. Briggs worked to address racial inequality and promote socialism as a pathway to Black liberation. Again, there's Pan-Africanism, I believe, and even the Black Power movement. Socialism is tied into both of those in a big way. And here again, we have another Caribbean person who's also influencing civil rights in that way. Other key figures in civil rights movement: Malcolm X, who is of Grenadian ancestry. Although born in the U.S., Malcolm X's mother, Louise Little, was from Grenada. Malcolm X's advocacy for Black nationalism, self-determination, and human rights deeply shaped the civil rights movement. So, you know, if this was really a war, you can't have Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm would qualify as a tether in your eyes, because Malcolm is of Caribbean ancestry, right? And he was undermining FBA, because he was undermining Martin Luther King and his movement. So really and truly, you can't have Malcolm back. All right? If it's gonna go like that. So you can't have him. Malcolm is ours. How you like me now? How you like that? We are at war. All right. So it goes from Malcolm. Next it goes to Harry Belafonte. The iconic singer and actor was a close confidant of Martin Luther King Jr. and a significant financial supporter of the civil rights movement. A significant financial supporter. Harry Belafonte, another Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? He was giving y'all, this is Jamaican money. He instead of sending his money back to Jamaica, he was giving it to the civil rights movement. You know, did y'all say thanks to Harry yet?
Imagine, Harry Belafonte was a strong financial supporter of civil rights, right? You know, when civil rights groups came to Harry, what did Harry say? Him said, yo. Him say, see day, yo. Why may I tell you? Now what are y'all saying? Y'all say Gwe. Y'all say Gwe. Y'all say Gwe. Y'all say Gwe, yo. That's crazy. That's crazy. Harry said, "Day yo, uno segue." What kind of thing that? What kind of thing is this?
Stokely Carmichael from Trinidad. Carmichael, later Kwame Ture, was a leader in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, and a prominent figure in the Black Power movement. There is no Black Power movement without Kwame Ture. As certainly as Marcus can be the symbol of Pan-Africanism, Kwame Ture is the symbol of Black Power. Like, those are facts. And both of these people are Caribbean. Are you kidding me? And y'all are here talking about how we're just taking. Like, that's really, like, that makes y'all look like really ungrateful. Like, just real ingrates. And it really is, you know, it's really sad that you really have to be reminded of who you are and who you are. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Who raise emphasis on self-determination and pride in African heritage inspired men. And who's gonna question that? So next it goes into speaking about grassroots activism and labor movements. It says many Caribbean immigrants participated in labor movements that intersected with civil rights, particularly in the urban centers like New York, Miami, and Chicago. They worked to address housing discrimination, worker exploitation, and segregation. So this talk, so all your talk about, oh, you immigrants come here, take advantage of civil rights that we want. It wasn't just you. It wasn't just you, bro. You need to really sit down and just calm down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I know you mad about some things, but sit down. You're doing too much. It wasn't just you. Let me say it again. Many Caribbean immigrants participated in labor movements that intersected with civil rights, particularly in urban centers like New York, Miami, and Chicago. They worked to address housing discrimination, worker exploitation, and segregation. There is no aspect of civil rights that Caribbean people were not involved with. You know what I'm saying? And if Caribbean people won rights in America because of civil rights, if immigrant Caribbean people got to come here off of the backs of the civil rights movement, it's off of the backs of those Caribbean people, that civil rights movement, not necessarily just y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't put us in the position where we're gonna say y'all had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Because we want to respect each other. But stop saying we're just leeching off of y'all. You're being disrespectful to the people that were there with y'all. Remember, keep in mind, we didn't just teach you how to fight. We taught you that you could fight. And then after that, we fought along with you. We taught you that you could fight and win. We taught you that you could fight and win. Then we taught you how to fight. Then we fought alongside you. And then y'all want to call us leeches? Check yourselves. Really, really, check yourselves. Cultural and intellectual contributions. Caribbean intellectuals like Claude McKay, Jamaican, a key figure in Harlem Renaissance, used poetry and literature to confront racism and celebrate Black identity. You can't even talk about Harlem Renaissance without the Bronx and Harlem was a haven for Caribbean people. There's no Harlem Renaissance. There's no none of that without mentioning Caribbean people. Y'all are bugging. Caribbean communities in cities like New York, example Harlem and Brooklyn, and the Bronx, provided vibrant cultural and intellectual hubs that supported civil rights activism. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think that just has to speak for itself. There is no civil rights movement without mentioning Caribbean people. Do it. And why would you even want to try to do it? Influence on modern movements. Today, Caribbean Americans continue to contribute to racial justice movements. Figures like Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, Barbadian and Guyanese descent, became trailblazers as she was the first Black woman elected to Congress and ran for president in 1972. The first Black woman elected to Congress. And then the first Black woman to run for president was a Caribbean woman. Y'all kidding me? Are y'all kidding me? Eh? We just had Kamala the other day. She's a Jamaican also, running for president. You know what I'm saying? Barack was, they call Barack the first Black president, but you know, we all know what Barack was not. You know what Barack was not? FBA. Barack was not FBA. Y'all need to stop that, for one. You know what I'm saying? You know what y'all didn't care about with either Barack or Kamala? Y'all didn't care that they were Tethers. But they are. Right? All that matters was they were Black. Y'all supported them 90%. Y'all voted for them 90% of y'all. Being a tether didn't matter. All that mattered was you had a black president. But now it matters. Now it matters. Well, if it matters, we're going home and we're taking our Barack with us. We ain't playing no more. We ain't playing with y'all. But let me not get distracted. The first black woman to run for president and the first black woman elected to Congress was a Caribbean, Shirley Chisholm. Put some respect on it. Caribbean immigrants and their descendants have long been integral to the civil rights struggle in America, blending their unique histories of resistance and anti-colonial activism with the broader fight against racism and inequality in the United States. What else does ChatGPT need to say to y'all? You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to really see. And over what? Over who? Tariq Nasheed? This is your king? This is your king? Tariq Nasheed? You're going to sacrifice Shirley Chisholm. You're going to sacrifice Claude McKay. You're going to sacrifice Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, Martin Luther King Jr. You're going to sacrifice Harry Belafonte. You're going to sacrifice Marcus Garvey. For who? Tariq Nasheed. Not only are you willing to give up Kamala and Barack that you voted for 90% because they meant so much to you, but you're willing to sacrifice people like Alexander Hamilton. You know, the guy they did the whole show about, the whole Broadway show. He was a Caribbean. Right? And he helped to shape this country. He's one of the main people that helped to shape America. So Caribbean people aren't just here leeching. We're here shaping. We're shaping this country as well, and we've always been shaping this country. You're willing to sacrifice men like James Weldon Johnson, who is, you know, among the leading civil rights activists. But he has roots in the Bahamas. You're willing to give up. And by the way, James Weldon Johnson does so happen to be the writer of the Black National Anthem. A Tether wrote Black National Anthem. Isn't that something? You're gonna have to get a new anthem. You're gonna Lucky is also a musician. Maybe he can come up with a snazzy new anthem. But we're taking James Weldon Johnson and his anthem with us. You sacrificed him. So all of these people, Marcus Garvey, you're willing to sacrifice Marcus. Stokely Carmichael, you're willing to sacrifice Stokely Carmichael. You're willing to sacrifice Kwame Ture. The leading figures in Black nationalism, Black power, Pan-Africanism, whatever name you want to call it. You're willing to give up the leading figures in those movements, which have been movements Black Americans or so-called FBA have been a part of for years. But you're willing to give that all up. And for what? For who? You're willing to give up all of these great leaders, all of these great men and women. For what? For who? Tariq Nasheed? The pimp? The pimp. You're willing to sacrifice Cicely Tyson. You're willing to sacrifice Colin Powell. You're willing to sacrifice W.E.B. Du Bois. You're willing to sacrifice all these great people. But we'll take them with us. You know what I mean? Y'all, you can't take any of ours. You can't take any of ours, but we can take a lot of y'all. We have rights to a lot of y'all. You can't keep them. You can't keep them. We taking the tether butts with us. You're gonna lose this war. But if I war, then I war.
We are at war, and I got the scar to show. Hey, look, y'all, it's psychological, like apocalypse, y'all. It's the rise and the fall of man. It was orchestrated by his own hand, and damn, time to build up Noah's Ark again to withstand the fire next time we burn the can. My rocket launcher goes bang, and just a few years ago, you was my man. And we shot Russians together. Now discussions are just like whatever, yeah, whatever. Cause we could declare war is over, but still keep bringing home more dead soldiers. When peace is wartime, ceases our kind to live on this planet. Just one hot granite in space, with intimations of a human race at war with itself that costed itself when.
You know, so that's about what I wanted to talk about. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's the New Year's Eve. The new year is upon us. Indeed, the new year is upon us. And I'm hoping we can, you know what I mean, start the new year on a new page. Maybe, you know what I mean, we can declare peace. Hopefully we'll see somebody drop a video declaring peace, waving that white flag. You know what I mean? Because y'all can't win this war. You cannot. You know what I mean? It's a new year, and we here. Yeah, we here. And we've always been here. We've always been here. You know what I mean? We ain't going nowhere. You know, we are just as American as you are. We may possibly be more American than you are. Remember, we really do symbolize the American dream more than anyone else. Immigrants do that. Immigrants is really what the American dream is about, and what the essence of America is about. Caribbean people came here and fought for civil rights. That's what they wanted. That's what they fought for, was civil rights. You know what they didn't fight for? You know what they weren't fighting for? The same thing when immigrants come here today, when black immigrants come here today, they don't come here for reparations. Those black immigrants that fought for civil rights weren't fighting for reparations. They were fighting for their rights. So don't try and come tell us that we're here leeching, trying to take the stuff that you've garnered for yourself. That's not why we're here. We're here for the American dream. And the American dream has nothing to do with reparations. The American dream has nothing to do with whatever you think Caribbean people or African people are taking away from you. That is not what the American dream is about. But rest assured, that's what Caribbean people and African people and everybody else is here for. They're here for the American dream. We're what's really foundational to this country. Immigrants. Not slavery, immigrants. Let's please try to remember that. But we're not going to flaunt it, you know, because again, we know we're all immigrants. We all come from somewhere else. So we're not gonna, you know, get beyond ourselves. So let's hope you don't either. or let's hope you know what I mean, learn to restrain ourselves and learn to love each other again. That's it for this show, peoples. You know what I mean? I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Yeah, blessings to y'all. Please hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Be notified. Gonna be going live. Be notified. You heard? And share something. Share something. We're trying to build this channel, you know? So let's go. Let's do it. Blessings again. Catch you on the next one.
Yeah, y'all. Yeah, man, that's the latest gem. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep them gems going, you heard? Peace, everybody, for stopping by, man. It's a full house. I'm telling you, I'm in a small room. So, you know what I mean? It's a full house right now. So blessings to y'all. Hit that like button, man. Hit the button. Word up. Big up to my man Sunchild for sending me that banger. We Are at War. You done know. But I'm gonna play another song that one of my other brethren sent me. I think it's appropriate to a level. You heard? Because FBA don't want to be just black no more. They want to be foundational black. Word up. So my man sent me this song right here. So I'm going to play it for y'all. I hope y'all like it. Let me know if y'all are hearing it or what is up. Hang on, let me try something first. Let me stop sharing. And then I'm going to play this joint.
Listen very, very carefully.
Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. When God spoke his words, they said he was deranged. Marley sung his songs, they said the same. Malcolm X and Martin Luther fought relentlessly so we could be better. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up this big tune for Sunchild. You done know, cause it is a big tune. I agree with you, buddy.
I want you to listen very, very carefully.
Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. When God spoke his words, they said he was deranged. Marley sung his songs, they said the same. Malcolm X and Martin Luther fought relentlessly so we could be better. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm gonna since you know, I mean, we talking about FBA today. Again, if anybody wants this link, you know what I mean, want to chop it up a little bit, holla in the chat. Holla in the chat if y'all want a link. But I'm gonna vibe out right now. And I'm gonna see if I can find another FBA video of mine. Yeah, I'll play this one for y'all. Since it's a release part, I'm gonna play this one for y'all. Thoughts and bars. Thoughts and bars. You know what I mean? If y'all ever want to come back to these thoughts and bars, you heard. Y'all can come check out these thoughts and bars. Let me set up this thought and bar right here. And then I'm going to share my channel. I'm going to share my page.
Use
All right, y'all ready for thoughts and bars? Y'all ready for thoughts and bars? My thoughts, Sunchild's bars. My thoughts, Sunchild's bars. And you know what I mean? I had to give a crazy disclaimer for Sunchild. The views expressed in this video are not shared by Sunchild. Sunchild only you know what I mean? Sunchild only validates the bars. That's it. So I need to make that clear. So here we go. Sunchild and a Dream, thoughts and bars. Thoughts and bars.
Using the N-word is a part of hip-hop culture because hip-hop culture is gang culture. The Black community refuses to give up using the N-word for the same reason it refuses to give up hip-hop culture. The Black community refuses to give up the N-word and hip-hop culture because the Black community refuses to give up gang culture.
We gotta get over. Gotta get over. We gotta get over. People, we gotta get over.
Hip-hop culture is the product of New York City gang culture, in which members see themselves as family. There's nothing you can say to or call one member of the family that you cannot say to or call another member of the family or gang. Widespread use of the N-word comes out of hip-hop culture, and since hip-hop culture is the product of a gang culture in which Blacks and Puerto Ricans were and are brothers or family, it is only natural and appropriate in hip-hop culture that those Latinos be allowed to use the N-word, especially when it is viewed as a term of endearment by their family.
People, we gotta get over, or pray to Jehovah, to rap like Hova, or shoot like a soldier, or shoot like Kobe and Shaq, or you be shooting like a criminal black man on the run again, from the sun again. Last night you got yourself a gun again, to shoot someone again, and move like Jet Li, like you the one, and you're gonna murder one of them.
Hip-hop culture is a product of Black street gang culture, and Black street gang culture is a product of Black prison culture. The reason there's a disproportionate number of Black men in prison has less to do with white supremacy and more to do with Black gang culture, disguised as hip-hop culture.
Homie, don't step on my Air Force, son, you don't know me. They cost your life, like Wyclef and Prize. We can dance with a knife in the survival of the pit. Shit, staying alive. Gotta get over it.
Hip-hop culture is a pseudo-culture. The fifth element of hip-hop is knowledge. Knowledge taught by the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths, Malcolm X, and the Nation of Islam, whose teachings were integral to the prison and gang culture of New York City in the early 70s. This fifth element, knowledge, is undeniably what we call pseudo-knowledge, which makes hip-hop culture not just a prison and street gang culture, but hip-hop culture is a pseudo-culture.
You gotta get over it. When it's like Iraq, you got a U.S. soldier in. Gotta get hold of it. Rock it like a Mac Daddy, flow with it. Now that you've been told of it, can we get high enough to get over it? But send your soul for gold a bit. When they take notes, will angels still love it?
Hip-hop culture is not just Black culture. Hip-hop culture is Black street gang culture. Hip-hop culture is Black prison culture. Hip-hop culture is Black Marxist and Black communist culture. Hip-hop culture is Black anti-American culture.
There's always always gotta be a hater. A beast is trying to put a cease and be a world peace trader. Yeah, I'm sure of it. We'll see more guts and more gore of it. So evil us, they got a store of it. But we just got over that, but just get over this.
Hip-hop culture is New York City culture. Hip-hop culture is not Black culture, it's not Latino culture, nor Caribbean culture. Black Americans contributed to hip-hop. Latinos contributed to hip-hop. Jamaicans contributed to hip-hop. And white Americans contributed to hip-hop. Hip-hop culture is New York City culture.
Gotta be sure of it. Give more and more, we need more of it. Before they find a cure of it. Love is a house, open the door of it. No more manure in the core of it. Blood, sweat, and tears all pour for it. That's why we try to stay pure for it. No more war like we swore for it.
Latinos will stop using the N-word when Black people stop using the N-word. Latinos should not stop using the N-word until Black people stop using the N-word. If Black people stop using the N-word, then Latinos using the N-word will be like white people using the N-word. Latinos will stop using the N-word when Black people stop using the N-word. Black people, particularly foundational Black Americans, have the power to end the use of the N-word, but they are adamantly opposed to it. One way foundational Black Americans can get reparations for slavery is by ending the use of the N-word.
We gotta get over. We move mountains. Right when y'all run to the mountains, we move the mountains. It's all things possible fountain. Counting the waves, but who's counting? Counting on the winner when it's faith versus doubt, and it's magic. The way things happen, rapping my way from swabbing the deck to captain. Salute. In HIM, these two hearts get over him.
Hip-hop has a gay agenda. From Africa Bambaataa to P. Diddy, hip-hop has always had a gay agenda.
Why die, why wisdom? Standing on the corner, trying to drop that knowledge on you. Yeah, you lack understanding. Guess you need that. Jesus is Black understanding. Understanding, you're kicking sand in my third eye, demanding. I see through your bird's eye. Where I'm standing, the words I slang from a cannon, and all my thoughts go banging. We gotta get over. Gotta get over. We gotta get over. People, we gotta get over. Or pray to Jehovah to rap like Hova, or shoot like a soldier, or shoot like Kobe and Shaq, or you be shooting like a criminal. Black man on the weekend. Last night you got yourself a gun again to shoot someone again and move like Jet Li, like you the one, and you're gonna murder one of them. Yeah, homie, don't step on my Air Force, son. You don't know me. They cost your life like Wyclef and Prize. You can dance with a knife in the survival of the bitch shit. Stay alive. Gotta get over it. When it's like Iraq, you got a U.S. soldier it. Gotta get hold of it. Rock it like a Mac, daddy. Flow with it. Now that you've been told of it, can we get high enough to get over it? The same soul for gold a bit. When they take notes, will angels still love it? Gotta be sure of it. Give more and more, we need more of it. Before they find a cure of it. Love is a house, open the door of it, pour of it. Blood, sweat, and tears all pour for it. That's why we try to stay pure for it. No more war like we swore for it. There's always gotta be a hater, a beast that's trying to put a cease and be a world peace traitor. Yeah, I'm sure of it. We'll see more guts and more gore of it. So evil us, they got a store of it. And we just got over that, but just get over this. You know, it's like a cycle. You got to ride the rhythm of the waves of life, dude. You gotta get over. We move mountains, right when y'all run to the mountains, we move the mountains. It's all things possible fountain, counting the waves, but who's counting? Counting on the winner when it's faith versus doubting. It's magic, the way things happen. Rapping my way from swabbing the deck to captain. Salute in HIM. It's too high for y'all to get over him. Why die? Why wisdom? Standing on the corner, trying to drop that knowledge on you. Yeah, you lack understanding. Guess you need that. Jesus is black under system. You're kicking sand in my third eye, demanding I see through your bird's eye. Where I'm standing, the words I slang from a cannon, and all my thoughts go banging. Yeah, or am I over your head? This much closer gets you closer to dead. People, powers that be invested in us. Start investing in those powers. You gotta get over. You gotta get under. You gotta get over. You gotta get over. You gotta go under. You gotta get over. You gotta get over. You only go under. You gotta get over. You gotta get over your pain. You gotta get over. You only go under. You gotta get over. I feel your pain and your pain is thunder.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is, man. You know, so please try and check out that channel, because you know I'm trying to put some stuff up on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to create some content. I do have content to put up, content to create. It's a really, you know, fun experience. I'm having a good time doing it. But yeah, but I'm hoping if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? Y'all know how I go. I'm starting to realize what this whole streaming thing is about. So, you know, please subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? Hit that like. One other thing I want to do. Let's see. Just give me another quick second. Let me find this one other thingy-majiggy. No, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen again. So, yeah, this is the channel right here, man. We are starting from like scratchity scratch. We starting like hip hop from scratch. You heard? Like our numbers right now. We building on it, but you know, it's a movement again, like hip hop, like hip hop. The American dream is like hip hop. It's a movement. and we gonna hope to see these numbers move. You know what I'm saying? And keep it moving. We hope to see these numbers move. Yo, there is a reason that there is an ether. There is ether in every tether. You heard? Y'all seeing me? Are y'all paying attention? There's an ether in every tether. That's why we gonna win the war. That's why we gonna win. Um, so yeah, man. So this is the latest video that I put up. The FBA, what FBA owes the tether. And this is what the channel looks like. It's being built. You know, again, I'm enjoying building it. Having ideas for what to do, things to talk about. I'm starting to create some playlists. So I do have this a couple of playlists here. I want to go into this playlist right here, the American.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
Play that yet? Come on. I want to check out the playlist first. What does it look like? So there are 3 videos, but I want to check out.
Right, they're the baby spades. You got the black.
Yeah, I'm gonna let this video here rock out. The title of the show is FBA plus something else plus more. I guess I want to give y'all a quick introduction to the channel and what's on. Again, I'm trying to build some content. This video here is Party with the Spades, A History of Hip Hop Culture, Part 3. This is a 7-part series. I'm going to play Part 3 because, it's a release party that I'm having tonight. I'm releasing a new video. It's a release party. So I'm going to invite the Black Spades to my party. You know what I mean? The Black Spades. They bring the girls. Why? Because they bring the disco, baby. You heard? All right. So I'm going to, let's listen to this Party with the Spades video one more again. If anybody wants to come up and talk with me, just let me know. I'll drop a link. But I'm gonna let this video right here rock out. Hope y'all enjoy it.
Hey, peace. What's happening, everybody? Well, now deal with.
Sitting on top of the world, I'm 5 morally. Status of a king for surely. Morally, we pop dumb things till we stop the impurity. We pop them just for recognition. Listen to the missionary on a mission with the visionary vision. Do you recognize intuition? I'm feeling men when I went out fishing. I tell you why they rocked the boat, because they didn't understand.
Yeah, all right. So welcome to episode 3. We're back at it. We're hailing disco today. I'm sorry. Yesterday, the last episode was hailing disco. Today we are actually partying with the Black Spades. Today we're partying with the Spades. Last show, when the reason we held disco is because we learned that disco is short for discotheque, which is a French word. Disco is actually a French word, and in the debate of who owns disco, at least, I think we're trying to make the argument that disco is white people stuff as well, and I think the fact that it's a French word, is strong evidence. And the fact that also discotheques started in France, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere in Europe. And we said discotheques are, in my estimation, absolutely the foreshadowing of street parties. We said street parties are just the disco parties after they left the text. Um, yeah. So there are strong arguments for us to say disco is white people stuff. It remained popular in Europe after it died down in the States. Another hint that it's their stuff, because they held on to it. Um, we also learned from the last episode when we hailed disco. Part of the reason we hailed disco also was because we realized that it started out as an escape to the doom and gloom of what was going on in Europe at the time with a lot of with the Nazi stuff. And so it was seen as, the dancing was seen as an escape to that. Um, so we hailed disco, not the other guy. Um, so that's kind of where we are right now, and what we've realized is, it's a white people sinting. Disco is white people sinting, and what we're saying is, if disco is white people sinting, so is hip hop, because hip hop is disco. Um, so today we want to talk about the street party culture that evolved from the discotheques, which we call hippity hop culture. It's only an evolution of the discotheques. I think we've learned that the gangs kind of took over the street part, kind of closing down discotheques, if you will. Got the people outside. Gang activity, gang. Um, they kind of terrorized discotheques. They literally did, and then after that they started having street parties. Isn't that something? That kind of is interesting. So we're gonna have a street party with the black spades today. We're gonna learn about the black spades. Um, and how disco kind of went, with hip hop. Disco went to the left, they went to the left to street party with the spades. Did y'all get that bar? They went to the left to party with the spades. They went to the left to party with, the left wing party. I think that's something that we're gonna learn about as well. Um, yeah, and that is another bar. I got bars. Disco Fever gave me sick hip hop bars, if you remember. Um, so I got bars. Y'all can at least stay for the bars at least. Um, but let's leave the bar and go to the party with the spades. Um, Look, I did it again. Leave the bar, go to the party with the spades. Leave the bar, go to the party. That's another one. I'm too good. But seriously, let's let's see what we can learn from our good friend Wikipedia. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. Let's do the wiki and see what we can see. Um, yeah, so it says the Black Spades were a mostly African American street gang, which started in the Bronx during the late 1960s and gained popularity in the 70s. The gang began to spread from the Bronx to Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, New Rochelle, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Connecticut by the late 1980s. During this period, Latino and white members were more common. The Black Spades, during this period, Latino and white members were more common. The Black Spades have made a comeback in 2019 with more members joining. They are now TBS New Direction, a community service group championing anti-violence initiatives and providing food distribution for the food insecure. Um, yeah, that's interesting. I've noticed, even with the idea of gangs, terrorizing leave the discotheques and then having parties outside. That's kind of interesting. It's the same way, like with the idea that they're now a new organization that's championing anti-violence. It's that's kind of interesting that they morph into groups. They kind of start street wars and then morph into a group that fights against street wars. Um, you know what I mean? They terrorize. They get the people out of the discotheques, then throw parties outside. Yeah, that's interesting. It's like they steal your phone, then help you look for it. That's crazy. That's interesting though. But anyway, let's continue reading and see what else we can learn about the um the black spades. Yeah, so a little more history about the black spades. The gang originated in 1968, excuse me, in the Bronx Dale houses in the Soundview section of the Bronx. Although rumor says they were originally named the Savage Seven, the name from the start was the Black Spades. The Black Spades officially formed in Junior High School 123 on Morrison Avenue in Soundview, originally a teenage street organization. The Spades followed the teachings of the 5% Nation, Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam, and were influenced by the Black Panthers and the Weather Underground organization. That's interesting. Um, yeah. Under the leadership of the original president, David Brockington, who was a member of the Nation of Islam, the Spades organized to fight against the racism and bigotry in the Soundview, Glasson Point, Parkchester, Castle Hill, and Throgs Neck neighborhoods of the Bronx. The First Division Black Spades policed and protected Bronxdale houses from the rise in crime, drug dealers, and heroin addicts who began to take over the community. Um, yeah, I guess this is kind of all making a little more sense to me now. Because they said they started in a junior high school, right? So these were teenagers, um, and so just the idea of them organizing to fight racism in their neighborhood, um, just seemed like a lot for teenagers to be doing. It just seemed as if they were formed. Now it's kind of clear that the Black Spades was a larger organization. They were a larger organization, and they they had a division of, I guess, younger children, and so um, that's kind of how it all. That's so they were formed for a specific reason. These were 13-year-old kids, so it sounds as if they were being recruited to join the gangs for a very specific reason. And when you hear about who they're following, like people like I mean the 5% Nation, Malcolm X, NOI, you can see that there sounds to be you know it's not just kids, it's grown-ups involved in in this whole scheme, if you will. um and that's interesting. um you know so they are in gangs. you know these are kids that are in gangs, so these are badass kids. you know um but then they are in gangs that are organized to fight racism and bigotry. So they're good ass badass kids. um, it's kind of weird. It's kind of interesting, and it's very interesting, but it's also kind of strange. You know, um, yeah. But let's continue. Reading just a little bit more. But again, it seems as if the hip hop hippity hoppers are just a front for something bigger, social movement bigger than them. And the hippity hoppers, I'm talking about those 13-year-old kids that were just doing their thing, you know what I mean, with the nursery rhymes, were at the street parties, you know, doing their thing to the disco, I presume, rapping to the disco, um, if you will. Um, but yeah, so that's where we are at this point. Um, so let's just continue reading just a little bit. Let me just find where I am. All right. The gang quickly spread to nearby housing projects in the Soundview area, Monroe houses, Soundview houses, um, Bronx River houses, Bronx River, and throughout the Bronx, starting a subculture inviting music into the lives of gang members. The Black Spades were also participants in the Hoe Avenue peace meeting. Yeah, even that peace meeting, the fact of 13-year-old kids being involved in a Hoe Avenue peace meeting, which was, you know, a big deal in the city at the time. A lot of people were there, a lot of politicians were there, the police were there. You know, that's a big deal. So now it kind of makes sense that they are just a division, and if not a division, kind of like just kind of a subgroup within a larger organization. They seem to, right. They're the baby spades. You got the black spades, you got the baby spades. So they're just one level. And I think the whole organization is in charge of that social movement for what hip hop is about. And you know, whatever their role is, it's centered around hip hop culture. And their role is, that's where their role seems to be kind of centered. Um, yeah, so let's just hear what else is written here. The Black Space also included a women's division that started in the Glassman Point Housing and Junior High School, IS 131. Um, that's crazy. They were a women's division that started in the junior high school. Now, were there adults in these junior high schools recruiting? That's just so crazy. That's just interesting. But anyway, by the early 1970s, the Black Spades had increased in numbers, and members began to lose focus of their original purpose. The Black Spades and young members, young spades and baby spades, became violent, and other divisions were unrestrained. David Brockington didn't like the direction that they were headed, so he stepped down as First Division president. Afterwards, Monk became the new Supreme President, which became a full-fledged street gang. New York street gang activity peaked in 1973 and then began to decline. Reasons for this decline included violence and drug use, as well as a move to the burgeoning hip hop culture in park jams, block parties, and clubs. Um, yeah, um, that's all interesting. You know, but let's continue to read. I don't think we've read anything um, that's of interest at this point. But wait, maybe this will be. Africa Bambata was a member in a Black Spade First Division First Chapter, then joined the Bronx River Houses Black Spades 10th Division before becoming a famous hip hop DJ. He went on to form the Universal Zulu Nation on November 12, 1973, with several members following him. You know, I told y'all these were some badass baby kids, right? Like these the kids that started it, since these are the gang member kids, these are baby kids, and it looked like Bambata is baby. Like that's pretty much what this is. Um, you know, hippity hoppers, that are claiming hip hop are claiming Bambata as their father. Because it sounds as if, you know, Africa Bambata is behind the whole recruiting these kids as part of that gang. Um, you know what I'm saying? And doing what he's doing. Africa Bambata is your father. He's the father of hip hop, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? And you can have him. You can have him as your father. Let's hope it works out better for you than for them other kids. Allegedly. But yeah, but y'all are children of Africa Bambata and the Zulu nation. That's who the hippity hoppers are. Um, that's who y'all are. Um, but let's read a little more. There's Cool DJ Herc. Yes, the Jamaican brethren. Bo. Are you stop? No, let me stop. Let's see. Cool DJ Herc, an early hip hop music pioneer. So they call this is referring to Cool Herc as a pioneer. You know what I mean? And that's good because you know what I mean. He's not he didn't create hip hop. Nope, that's all Bambata. Bebe. Bebe created hip hop for his kids. So it's not Cool Herc. Um, So it says Cool Herc, an early hip hop music pioneer, credits gangs, including the Black Spades, with getting the hip hop scene started. Gangs, including the Black Spades. And you know what I mean? The Black Spades looks like Bambata was running the Black Spades. Bambata is your father. Bambata and the Zulu nation. You know what I mean? That's who created hip hop. Africa Bambata and the Zulu nation created hip hop. You know what I mean? Excuse me, let me switch that. They took white people's music and switched it up and created hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But it's still white people stuff, you know? The same way they took white people's music and mixed it and scratched it and uh break break it or break beat it. The same way they just take people's music and do what they want with it is the same way they took white people's culture, disco culture. They took disco culture and remixed it and scratched it and broke it, you know what I mean? And created hip hop culture. But that's all it is. It's just remixed disco culture. But it's white people culture nonetheless. It's the gang version of white people culture. Um, in early 2022. No, let me back up a little bit. Um, but it says Cool DJ, DJ Cool Herc credits the Black Spades with getting the hip hop scene started. It started coming together as the gangs terrorizing a lot of discotheques back in the days. Man, exactly. They were terrorizing the discotheques. Makes sense. They were, you know what I mean? And I think that made people not want to go to the discotheques. And if you don't go to the discotheque, you gotta party outside, maybe go to the street parties. I mean, it sounds like a plan with these gangs, man. It always sounds like a plan. They terrorize the discotheques, get them out the tech so they can have street parties. you know and it's the same thing they do with even the street wars. They create street wars, and then after that they create anti-violence movements against street wars. um like, I don't know, it sounds like a scam to me, but whatever, what do I know? um Again, it says it started coming together as the gangs terrorizing a lot of known discotheques back in the days. I had respect for some of the gang members because they used to go to school with me. They were the Savage Skulls, Glory Stompers, Blue Diamonds, Black Cats, and Black Spades. Yeah, so it doesn't look like Cool Herc was one of them gang bangers. You know what I mean? Us Jamaicans, we don't be gang banging. We don't be down with that stuff. I mean, well, okay, I'll take that back. But Cool Herc didn't mess with that stuff. He just hung out with y'all. We just hung out with y'all and brought his stuff and threw parties with y'all. But that was it. That's all. That's all we had to do with it. We don't want no more than that. All right. The organization had a strong following through the late 1990s. Around this time, many young members of the organization transitioned their membership to the Blood Street Gang in NYC. Lord, the Bloods. So the Bloods are East Coast and the Crips are West Coast. Like, you know what I mean? You can't have hip hop history without and a history about gangs without mentioning the Bloods and Crips. Bloods ran the East Coast as far as, and then the Crips are West Coast. I wonder if that has anything to do with the social movement. Maybe I'm thinking too much. What y'all think? Maybe. Who knows? So, you know, and I think also that maybe, again, I think that's probably the main reason why it's so hard to get rid of the N-word, is because, you know, the N-word belongs to hip hop culture and hip hop culture belongs to the gangs. You know, you're not going to get rid of the N-word because you're not going to get rid of the gangs. And I don't know if our community is ready to get rid of gang culture yet. We are too invested in the gang. We are gang. You know what I mean? We love everything gang. The Black community loves that. You know what I mean? And that's not just African Americans, that's Jamaicans, that's Puerto Ricans. For some reason, I don't know if it's an inner city thing, but it's gang. It's West Coast, East Coast. Our community is really engulfed in gang culture. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else of interest. In early 2022, a resurgence of Black Spades members have risen in the River Park Towers housing complex of the West Bronx. This latest incarnation of the Black Spades are a neighborhood self-policing unit that has plans to participate in homeless food drives, after-school programs at CIS 229, and other positive neighborhood development. Yeah, so you know, they always seem to morph into positive neighborhood stuff after creating a lot of negative neighborhood stuff. But I don't know. That's another that's another topic for another show. But yeah, just yeah. So again, to summarize, for my hippity hoppers out there, um, the baby spades are just one division of or one level of the Black Spades. So they're just really, you know, they're just really children with, you know, they're pawns, if you will, in whatever the social movement of hip hop was or and really is. This is a movement centered around gang culture. It's centered around drug culture, and it's centered around sexual promiscuity. And that's what, you know, that's what disco culture was as well. Disco culture was the drug culture and the sex promiscuity. What hip hop added was just the gang culture to it. There it is. Disco is drugs and sexual promiscuity, and hip hop is just gang activity added to that. That is what is added to disco to make it hip hop. You know, so you didn't really add music. If anything, you added gang culture to what was going on, or gang activity to the whole movement. Um, so gang activity, drugs, promiscuity, which, you know, right now, P. Diddy is the poster boy for. You know, P. Diddy is hip hop. Um, yeah, and the history of hippity hop is the history of Africa Bambata and the Zulu nation. Um, that's really, you know, what it is. And so another question is what were they about? What was going on with Bambata and the Zulu nation and, you know, the whole, just everything else. What else were they involved with in terms of the movement with creating hip hop? And, you know, we may go there next, in terms of what direction we take for this rabbit hole, as we you know, go down in the rabbit hole and see where it takes us. Yeah. So, you know, I think we've touched on everything. You know, nothing else left to say at this point, other than, you know, look out for part 4, man. Part 4 is coming. Part 4 is coming. So, you know, you don't want to miss it. Hit the like button, please. I beg you, hit the like button and the subscribe. Hit subscribe right after you hit the like button. You know what I mean? And then the notification, like it don't cost nothing. Hit the notification bell as well. You know, it can only help. And then join my Discord server. Join the Discord server. You know, it's, you know, the link is in the description of the video. Join the server. You get to interact with me all day. Ain't that something? Don't get no better than that. You know what I mean? Shout out to Sunchild. Sunchild is one of the main ones that is brave enough to interact with me in the Discord. So, you know, it's me and Sunchild. Y'all can come hang out with me and Sunchild. How amazing is that? 2 for 1. You know what I mean? So join the Discord. It's a lot of fun. We get to talk all day, every day, which is amazing. And I think that's all. I think that's enough to ask of people. Did I mention Twitter? I mean X. Join my X at American Dream Guy. I'm on X, American Dream Guy. Follow me. You know what I mean? Follow me, no man. Sure. Yeah, I think that's it now. That's it. There can't be more. No, the last thing. Y'all see the Cash App, right? The Cash App is right there. It's alive. But you know what I mean? You gotta help keep the dream alive. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, that's another bar. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, man. Word up. American Dream is alive. Hit the Cash App. That's what's up. It would be highly appreciated. You know what I mean? Word up. Y'all are the best for being here, man. It's amazing to you know, to be doing this. So once again, catch y'all on the next one. Until next time, peace out.
Recognize royalty. Recognize royalty. Recognize it. Recognize royalty. Gotta recognize it. Recognize royalty. Like they ain't got eyes to recognize royalty. I can feel. Recognize royalty. I can see. Recognize royalty. Now I recognize royalty. Royalty inside. Royalty. I can see. Recognize royalty. I can love. Recognize royalty. Now I recognize it. Royalty. I recognize passion. Just the man with the title in his hand, with the vital in his hand, with the Bible in his hand, never in demand, with the lecture in the stand, with the vector and the candle. Can you understand the grand? From the texture of the hand, hard at work, are you hard at work, working with the man? It's the ring of royalty. Crown him king, just a thing, letting loyalty ring. Bring frankincense and myrrh and other things. As gold already blings from the highest of prizes, no sins. Recognize the king's overruling commandments with the Trinity and the power it brings when you recognize royalty. I feel it.
I can see.
Yeah, I see it.
Now
I recognize now. Royalty.
I can see.
I see it.
I can love again.
Now I'm in love now. I recognize your passion. Recognize royalty. Sunrise royally. Sitting on top of the world. I'm vibe morally. Status of a king for surely. Morally, we pop dumb things till we stop the impurity. We pop them just for recognition. Listen to the missionary on a mission with the visionary vision. Do you recognize intuition? I'm feeling men when I went out fishing. I'll tell you why they rocked the boat. Cause they didn't understand what the prophet wrote. What's the conniption? Choose the Jews' crucifixion and refuse recognition at son child's christening in the mix some and some. Insist they fix the system from malarkey back to my monarchy. Yeah, back above me. Don't soil my purple and blue, and I will recognize your royalty too.
I can feel you.
I feel it.
I can see you.
I can see it.
Now
I recognize now
royalty
your royalty.
I can see.
I see it.
I can love again.
And I'm in love now.
I
I recognize your passion.
Royalty.
Royalty.
Yes, people. You done know the time ran away with me. It's a little over 2 hours. Yeah, man, I'm going to close down shop. You heard? Thank y'all for rocking with me. Appreciate y'all being here. You know what I mean? Until next time, y'all be good. Bless yourselves. Blessings.